I'm an artist. Now what?
January '94 is when Rob Liefeld discovered my Wild Guard mini comics. A college buddy of mine at the Art Institute, he took my mini comics, showed them to an artist who worked for Rob. He liked them, took them back, showed them to Rob. Rob liked them. 2 days later, I get a phone call, said, I saw your Wild Guard mini comics. They're really cool. I want you to come work for me.
Wow. So you never even applied to Rob, right? So
I had. I was sending samples to Marvel, DC, Valiant, Dark Horse,
right? Yeah.
every image studio. Yeah, it was, and I got rejection letters from everybody. In fact, I got my latest rejection letter from Rob the same week that he called me.
Really?
Yeah. So, and that was the thing. That was one of my first big lessons. Was. Don't try to draw what you think the publisher or editor wants to see, because that's what I was doing at the time. I was trying to adapt to, well, I'll make it look like what Marvel's doing right now. I'll try to do this Valiant style for Valiant. I'll try to draw on the Jim Lee style for Jim Lee's studio and Rob's style for Rob's studio. And that's why I kept getting these rejection letters. But my mini comics, which I was still very insecure about, didn't want anyone to see. But my buddy Jaime thought differently and showed it. And when I got hired off of those, it's like, well, I do my mini comics just the way I do my art. I mean, it's influenced by all my favorite artists and the flavors of the day, sure, but I'm not trying to do anything for anyone else. I'm just doing it purely like, this is how I do my art. And that's what got me noticed. That's what got me hired. So it's like, don't try to be everybody else. Just be me, which is a challenge in itself to do.
How would you try to break in today? If you really needed to, right? How would you go about doing that today?
Nowadays, there's like, I probably still do the same thing. Still draw my sample pages to go to cons, because meeting those editors face to face is valuable. Mm-hmm. And now getting your portfolio critiqued at a convention is different than when I was a kid. Back then, you just walked up to the Marvel booth or the DC booth, and there's an editor, you ask, do you have time to take a look at my portfolio? And most of the times they would say, sure, let me take a look, because what else do they got to do? Now conventions are so crazy, you have to go into the portfolio lottery. You know, most big publishers, you submit your photocopy samples and then check the callback sheet the next day. Sometimes at cons, they'll have a dedicated time frame where you can queue up to go get a critique, as you know, you wait in line to meet with an editor, sit down at a table and go over your portfolio with them. And those are fantastic ways to meet an editor, especially the queue up and wait your turn tables are fantastic, which are a lot of cons. I know they have them at Emerald City and I think C2E2 as well. So getting that face-to-face is fantastic. So I'd probably still do that. And I'd also still do my creator-owned stuff, still make my mini comics. But now I have so many more options on how to do that. There's the one-off publishing, so I can, because my mini comics I made back in the 90s were Kinko's printouts. They were black and white ash can comics. Right. That I would hand off, which were fine, but now it's like I can do full color, I can do computer lettering, I can really make a slick finished product that you can hand off. Here's my full size, full color, professionally done comic. Because for editors, sometimes that's easier for them to find new talent, is let me read the comic and get that comic experience from either you, the writer, or you, the artist, you, the colorist, and I like this. How would this person look on this Spider-Man story, or this Black Widow story, or this, Black Lightning story? Just whatever the publisher is, it's like, cool stuff. It gives them an experience, which is what they want. That's what they want to give their readers. So if they can experience that from your finished work, then they can see how they could apply it to what they're working on. But then there's also digital comics. I can post my comics online. No overhead. It's just take the time to draw it up, post it, start building up an audience. And then also, you just never know when an editor might come across your work online. And I've gotten work that way. It blew my mind. A case in point story, I'm a big Mystery Science Theater fan, if you might not have noticed here with Tom Servo and Crow here in the background. Yes. Huge Mystery Science Theater fan. Loved the show since '92. When the Netflix series came out, the new seasons, I drew Mystery Science Theater fan art of the new host and new mad scientists of Jonah Ray, Felicia Day, Patton Oswalt, and the bots, and posted that to Twitter and Instagram. And I'd heard rumor that Dark Horse might be doing a Mystery Science Theater comic book. And it's like, I want to be a part of that. The I'd say a few months later, 5, 6 months later, the Dark Horse editor contacts me and says, "Hey, you want to make some Mystery Science Theater comics?" It's like,
Wow.
wait, what? How did you know? Turns out the creator of the show, Joel Hodgson, had seen my fan art that I had done, liked it, and told the editor, "Hey, can we get this guy to draw our comic book?" And so it's like something I want to do, unbeknownst to me. That's how fan art got me a sweet gig, and now I'm in tight with the Mystery Science Theater crew. I've done lots of stuff for them, a poster for their most recent Kickstarter. So it's like Joel is now in my phone book, on my phone contact list. It's like I get emails and voicemails from him. It's like that's a fanboy moment that I kind of freak out over, but you just never know who's going to see your work, and you could get a job from the stuff you post online. So I think that's a really amazing thing that any of us can now get our artwork out there. A lot more competition, but you do what you do, and you never know when you might rise to the top.
Right on.